the time period we live in right now, we are a people, and what I'm going to be talking about is deeply spiritual. A lot of people don't really talk about this stuff, but our people are very deeply spiritual people. Okay, and we have our stories about the fish and the wildlife, and all those tell a story about who we are culturally. But there's also our relationship to the Creator. So we are a people that believe in a Creator, and that we were placed on this land, that to sustain this land, for generation to generation to generation. But because of the colonial thing that happened to us, some of our communities are gone in the direction of the way they do business, which is just take everything and leave nothing. But majority of our people still remain by leaving things and only taking what you need. Okay, so we understand that law of sustainability, what people use that word today, because it's really about responsibility. So we're still very responsible for the things and the acts we do out on the land. And we always make sure that there is something left for a few future generations. That's the key, is you got to make sure that you leave things for the future generations. That's why we still have those principles intact, whereas the other society does not. Some do, some have survived the total materialistic attitude today, but they still feel attached to the land. And those people usually get along with our people, and they understand us, that the need for leaving something for our future generations, especially those children that haven't been born yet, So when you create that cycle is healthy. But you break that cycle by taking too much from the land and leaving none, that cycle becomes broken. And that's what we're living through right now. We don't have a sacred hoop right now. We have a broken hoop. So what the indigenous peoples will do is they will begin to mend that hoop and bring equilibrium back into back to the human race. So one of our symbols, for example, is the medicine wheel. And on the medicine wheel, you have 4 races. So we recognize the 4 races: the white, the red, the black, and the yellow races of the world. And so if you trace genetics, they would fall into, and a lot of it's mixed now too. Like I'm not strictly Stratleya. My great-great-grandfather is from England. So that's where the Leech name comes in. So we still have those roots that are important to mend the sacred hoop. And we have never deserted that. And we know that we have a responsibility for that. But as a people, we need to progress spiritually. We cannot, all our traditions and everything is our roots, but roots are not frozen in time. Those roots will allow you to change and transform as you go along and adapt to the different times that you're going through. But those roots remain strong in our nation, and so that's the thing that allows us to be able to always have a look back and look forward, but live in the now. Okay, and so it's so the more we pass this on to the children, that will begin the healing process for not only our race but the rest of the races of the world, because we've been basically nearly killed off completely. Now, how low can you go, right? There's other people that have issues about being conquered and things like that, but ours was genocide, complete genocide of our people. But we're still here. We're still here as a people. And what keeps us alive and here is our spiritual connections with each other, and especially with the Creator. And the Creator sustains us, and we can't say we sustain ourselves because we don't have the ability to create the things that the Creator created. So we look at the Creator as our source of light, love, and that is the source that we turn to. Every day we pray and to sustain us, to move us, keep moving us forward. But there's one thing that the Creator ensures, is that things are always transforming and changing. That never stands still. And so our people are cyclical people, so we don't live on a straight line. So one cycle finishes and another starts, and another one, and another one, and another one. So what happened is on December 21st, 2012, we went into the fifth world. But we're feeling the effects of the fourth world into the fifth world. And that's where the cleansing takes place, the great purification. But as we go through each of these cycles, we forget about the Creator. But our people have never forgotten about the Creator. We've never placed the Creator in church, or temples or anything like that. So we pray out there, on the land. So that maintains our connection to the land. So the times that we live in is a time of great change, okay? People call it climatic change and other types of words to explain what we're going through. No, we're going through a transformation and change. So everything that you see today will be transformed and changed. Just like after the Great Flood, there was transformation and change that took place. Then the great cities came, and then all of a sudden the great cities became totally materialistic onto themselves, and then the land started to die around them. But the land never dies. It eventually hits back, and that's exactly what's happening today. We've become the viruses, so the earth will send us a virus. And of course, that's what we're going through right now, the COVID-19. And so there'll be waves of things coming that will eventually change the way we live in this fifth world, which in our culture is called Haláw. And that's the age of the golden eagle. And that's when we will, we live now in the age of the red earth people. So the red earth people will now move things forward. And if we don't do it properly, when it comes to that change again, in the sixth world, we'll go through it just as severe as we're going to go through it now. But you always go through that change during that shift and cycle. It's a cleansing. Okay, the Creator cleanses things, and so that the generations get a chance to further spiritually evolve, and it's really about, the Creator is really evolving us spiritually. And we keep going to the material as our solution. Yeah, the material is there, right? But then we lose our connection to the Creator. So therefore, what happens is you become a consumer. And you don't realize the more you consume, the tougher it's going to, that purification is going to be tougher, because it needs to replenish everything. And to replenish everything, there's a lot of things going on. So, human life, a lot of human life will not exist, but there will be people that will survive through this. We always have, but it's the red earth people that are taking up the baton, so to speak, at this time to help us through that. Okay, so, and like, we're real communities. We have a real history, but we've never been driven from our lands. We've never left our country. So we have all that, all that strength to teach the other races the real way to live and to be responsible. Like I say, to have mutual respect and understanding, and hold responsibility to each other forever. And so if we don't do the proper things come the end of the red earth cycle, you'll go through that severity. But the difference between this cycle, okay, and this is very important for people to know, is that when you go from one cycle to the next, like the 4 colors, okay, those are cycles. That's actually a clock. It's clocked at 25,920 years. The computer clocks it at 25,776 years. But the ancients rounded it up by 144. That's where that 144,000 comes in, 144. Then that comes out to, I think it comes out to 25,920. Okay, and then you take those, it comes out 6,480 for each of the small cycles. This one is the completion of the larger cycle. So it's going to be tougher because we've accumulated all that up to this point. That all has to be cleansed off. And then before we can become human towards each other again.